Now at 5:30 on Newswatch.
An Athens County commissioner spent a night in jail and is facing domestic violence charges.
An Athens businessman has received the go-ahead to tear down a historical building.
And in sports, the Ohio men's basketball team is literally looking to rebound tonight against Buffalo.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens. This is Newswatch.
An Athens County commissioner has been arrested and charged for domestic violence. Good evening, everyone. I'm Taylor Mirfendereski.
And I'm Andrew Fowler. Mark Sullivan was booked into the Southeast Ohio Regional Jail last night after the Nelsonville Police Department responded to reports of a domestic violence incident. Officers say Sullivan's niece, 29-year-old Samantha Sullivan, had a visible injury to her face. Both the victim and the witness filed statements saying Mark Sullivan caused the injury. The charge is a misdemeanor. And during a court appearance today, Sullivan pleaded not guilty. This is not Sullivan's first run-in with the law. In August, a special prosecutor from the state was appointed to investigate drug charges against Sullivan. Also, last year, he was charged with domestic violence for allegedly hitting his wife, but agreed to plead guilty to the lesser charge. This time around, according to Sullivan's niece, the argument started because of a parking dispute.
He was upset that I had blocked him in the day before, and he left me a note with some rude comments in it. He became angry and basically, in the middle of the argument, approached me and headbutted me in the face.
A pre-trial hearing for this charge of domestic violence has been scheduled for February 3rd. Sullivan was released from jail on his own recognizance. A sister-in-law of a Logan man who shot 3 people and then himself says he was stressed over caring for his terminally ill wife. Peggy Gilkey says Paul Gilkey was resentful of other family members. Peggy Gilkey says he was trying to do his best caring for his wife, who was diagnosed with cancer around Thanksgiving.
Across the border in West Virginia, the Mason County Sheriff pleaded not guilty today to 42 charges. David Anthony is scheduled to stand trial on April 10th on counts that include embezzlement, domestic assault, and child neglect. A Mason County grand jury indicted Anthony last week. A Wood County, West Virginia jury has determined a man should be eligible for mercy after he was found guilty of first-degree murder. 30-year-old John Anderson's mother testified her son deserves another chance. In his childhood, Anderson survived his parents' abusive relationship, 3 separate injury accidents, and what was supposed to be treatment in a state institution. Even with a successful appeal, Anderson may be 45 by the time a parole board panel decides whether or not he'll get a second chance. A lawyer of 2 Upper Big Branch miners says wrongful death lawsuits have been settled with the families of all 29 victims of the West Virginia 2010 disaster. Attorney Mark Moreland says the final deals were made after mediation sessions that will require court approval. Moreland says money is some compensation, but the losses in the nation's worst mining disaster in 4 decades can never be fully compensated.
As the debate over fracking continues, concerns are being raised about whether an injection well in Athens County's Rome Township violates its permit by allowing large amounts of fracking waste. Local resident Don Wirtschafter, who's an attorney, spent 3 hours in Columbus yesterday searching through state records. He says he wasn't surprised by what he found. The well near his house hasn't been tested for fracking waste for several years and has previous violations that weren't addressed. The next item on the agenda is making a formal complaint to the Division of Mineral Resources before the problem becomes more serious.
Yeah, this is hazardous stuff. Whether it's a true hazardous waste or this is fracking water or whatever, this contains chemicals that we don't want in our drinking water, but they're pouring it onto our land in massive quantities right now. And if we don't do something to slow this down and control it, we are not going to have drinking water in this neighborhood.
Wirtschafter says it's important for people to protect themselves and know exactly what affects their land. And over in Marietta, community members will have the opportunity to participate in a debate about fracking at Marietta College later this month. The Office of Civic Engagement will hold a series about fracking. It begins on January 26th.
Newswatch Weather Center, I'm Trevor Cole. We enjoyed another mild day, albeit a bit wet out there. Current temperature in Athens right now is 45 degrees with a dew point at 43. And then we also have some regional temperatures around the area of 43 in Columbus and 45 Lancaster, 43 Parkersburg, and the Huntington, Ashland, and Portsmouth down near the rivers where we're checking in with some warmer temperatures with 51, 51, and 52 respectively. Overnight tonight, we'll start at 45, still around 9 p.m. with a few showers around. Midnight rolls around, we'll dip only to 45 degrees, and then 43 by 3 a.m. with showers continuing through the whole time, but it won't be as heavy and as widespread as it was earlier in the day across the area.
An Athens businessman has received the go-ahead to tear down a historic building to construct an apartment complex. Despite opposition, the Athens Planning Commission approved Rick Wasserman's site plans to use the property on Stimpson Avenue for housing units. The building was originally used as a livery and is currently a wine store. Wasserman says he has no date yet to build the complex. A report released today says West Virginia needs to improve its highway safety laws. According to the report, the state lacks a seatbelt enforcement law, a ban on texting while driving, and a breathalyzer installation on the dashboard for all DUI offenders. The annual economic cost of motor vehicle accidents in West Virginia is reported to be almost $1.3 billion.
An Ohio House bill that would expand policies against bullying in school and online has passed the Senate. The Senate Education Committee approved the Jessica Logan Act. The legislation is named after a Cincinnati teenager who hung herself in 2008 after weeks of being bullied. The state senator says the bill includes allowing anonymous reporting and prohibiting students from making false reports. The Ohio Attorney General's office is reviewing a decision by a federal judge that postpones the execution of an Ohio man. Charles Lorraine was scheduled to die by lethal injection next week for the death of an elderly couple. A federal judge postponed the execution because he says the state has failed to follow its own death penalty policies.
There's a new organization in our area that is looking to make it easier for senior citizens, people with disabilities, and the people that serve them.
Coming up, we talk to a man who helped start the Southeast Ohio Aging and Disability Resource Network.
And what to make of the voting in New Hampshire primary, next on Newswatch.
Thank you, New Hampshire. Tonight we made history.
And history was in fact made last night. Mitt Romney became the first Republican to win both the Iowa caucuses and the New Hampshire primary in a competitive race since Iowa took the lead-off role in 1976. Chris Welch has more from New Hampshire on how the rest of the competition nomination race is shaping up.
It was a very solid showing for Mitt Romney here in the Granite State, but at this point there's no sign any of the other candidates will drop out anytime soon.
Here we go to South Carolina.
We are going to go on to South Carolina.
This campaign is going to go on to South Carolina.
The next primary contest will see another crowded field of candidates. For some, the Palmetto State will be do or die, but not for Mitt Romney. He's now 2 for 2 and is starting to sound like the presumptive nominee.
We know that the future of this country is better than 8 or 9% unemployment. It's better than $15 trillion in debt. It's better than the misguided policies and broken promises of the last 3 years and the failed leadership of one man.
Ron Paul had a strong showing in second place. He believes he's emerged as Romney's only viable challenger.
He certainly had a clear-cut victory, but we're nibbling at his heels.
John Huntsman, who skipped Iowa to focus on the Granite State, finished third. But for a guy who bet everything on New Hampshire, is that enough to keep the Huntsman campaign going? He says it is.
I'd say third place is a ticket to ride, ladies and gentlemen.
Newt Gingrich finished fourth, followed by Rick Santorum. As the clear frontrunner, Romney says he's ready to face a barrage of attacks.
People want someone who can lead the country back to strength with good jobs and rising incomes, and all these attacks, I think, will fall entirely flat as they did last night.
The nomination now appears to be Romney's to lose. South Carolina is the first southern state in the nomination process, and for Rick Santorum, Newt Gingrich, and Texas Governor Rick Perry, it could be vital. Reporting from Manchester, New Hampshire, I'm Chris Welch. Now back to you.
In Ohio, Republican presidential candidate Rick Santorum won't appear on the ballot at the district level in 3 congressional districts. That means 9 of the state's 66 delegates are off the table for him. But voters could still choose to award him at-large delegates. The party allots 48 delegates from the March 6 primary based on how well candidates do in each of the 16 congressional districts. The other 18 delegates are awarded at large. A day after Republican candidates attacked President Obama's economic leadership, the president says he plans to reward companies that invest in America. President Obama is planning new tax proposals that get rid of tax breaks for companies that don't invest in the country. He says because of the state of the economy, it's a good idea to keep jobs here in the U.S., and companies have a responsibility to invest in their country.
The main suspect in the disappearance of American teen Natalie Holloway in Aruba pled guilty to murder today in a different case. Jordan Vandersloot will be sentenced on Friday after pleading guilty to the 2010 murder of a Peruvian woman he met in a Lima casino. His attorney previously said Vandersloot planned to plead guilty in hopes of earning a more lenient sentence. In Holloway's case, Vandersloot was never charged. It's been 10 years now since the U.S. started locking up terror suspects at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. The prison has become controversial over the years with the ongoing debate about detainee rights, allegations of abuse, and questions about how prisoners would be charged. In 2009, Obama signed an order to close Guantanamo Bay within a year. But as of July 2011, 171 people were still being kept there. At its height, the prison held more than 750 detainees. Iraqi authorities say 3 police officers were killed after gunmen ambushed an insurgent stronghold. The attack happened today at a police post in a city near the Syrian border. Al-Qaeda and other Sunni groups are known for their strikes on police officers. This shooting is the latest in a series of attacks that have raised fears of an increase in violence since U.S. troops pulled out of Iraq last month.
The Ohio Cooperative Development Center at OSU South Centers has been working with regional aging and disability service providers to form a cooperative to better serve those groups. The cooperative is called the Southeast Ohio Aging and Disability Resource Network. Rick Heineman joins us now in our studio. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
So the Southeast Ohio Aging and Disability Resource Network, what exactly is that?
Well, it is a cooperative, as you said, and it's really a partnership among various agencies and services, both local and state. And the purpose of that collaboration is to streamline and make more seamless the services and supports that are provided to senior citizens and those with disabilities and their caregivers. Traditionally, the system's been very fragmented, and by that I mean people don't know where to go. And when they go somewhere, they may get bounced to another organization or another program or service. So the purpose here is what we call a no wrong door system. So regardless of what program or organization the client or the caregiver enters, they enter that network, they have access to all those services. That makes it much more seamless. The other thing that it does is traditionally the system has lacked focus on the individual. This makes it a more person-centered kind of a wraparound service. So that if they go into the community action, they've entered our network. If they go to the benefit bank or the JFS, or if they go into our office, they've entered the system, and we're able to hook them up with all services.
Okay, you just talked a little bit about network resources, and there's a new website, a network of care website. Explain what exactly that is and how it serves people with disabilities and those senior citizens.
The network of care is a web-based, it's a national database, and it's web-based, and it is actually the primary tool that the ADRN uses to establish this seamless person-centered model. And the way it does that in several ways. There's several resources on the website. There's a library. You can shop for home and medical equipment. There's various ways to contact your legislators. There's a big library. But one of the things that I think is very important as far as on the ground is it provides an electronic personal health record. And what that means is when someone could put information into their health record. So if they come, whatever organization they enter, with the client's permission, that organization can access that health record and see where they've been, where they need to go. That, again, is a tool to create that seamless access to the program.
Okay. And so the network was made just recently. Is it fully up and running now for seniors to use today?
It has been up and running, and the best way to access it, really, the Southeastern Ohio ADRN Network of Care, the easiest way to access it would be go to our website, which is www.areaagency8.org. So www.areaagency8.org, or you can call 1-800-331-2644, and we can hook you up with that. And if you want to become a member of the ADRN, it's best to call Mindy Caton of our office, 740-376-7645.
Rick Hyman, thanks so much for being here in our studio.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Stocks are ending mixed today on Wall Street as Europe edges closer to a recession that would hurt corporate profits in the U.S.
Well, after a very mild and rainy Wednesday, oh boy, we have some big changes in store, including the chance for some accumulating snow. Find out how much when we return from the break. Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Trevor Cole. Let's take a look at what's going on in Athens right now. We're at 45 degrees with an east wind at 6 miles per hour with a pressure at 29.51, so it's a bit low. We've got some storms coming in. And now let's take a look at the regional tracker. And you can see that Athens is at 45, and it's actually a pretty common number around the area. You can see we're also checking in at 45 for areas like Lancaster, Chillicothe, and then a bit warmer to the south along the river. Today's almanac, we hit 45 degrees with a low of 28. The averages come to 39 and 23, with the records 70 back in 1890 and negative 11 in 1893. Taking a look at the precip tracker for tonight, you can see that we've got actually, this is the low pressure system right here that's been causing all the trouble for the last couple days. That's going to continue to slide to the north, and actually it's going to allow for this cold front actually here just to the west of us to slide in with the big changes I was telling you about. And here you go with tomorrow. This is where the change begins, cold front even closer. And then here we go for tomorrow night. Watch this area right here. That's where the snow comes in tomorrow night and Friday. We'll have to watch. There'll be some travel concerns. It's going to get very cold, very windy, so the snow will stick, especially on Friday. And taking a look at tonight, mostly cloudy with periods of showers, east wind at 5 to 10. And regional tracker at 44 in Athens tonight. And, conditions pretty similar across the area. And then 44 and cloudy with periods of showers for tomorrow. And then for the 7-day, you can see it's quite a busy 7-day forecast with quite a lot of action. Watch out for that 1 to 3 inches on Friday, but other than that, it's not going to be too bad.
All right. The upcoming weather looks a little chilly. Not sad, and I can't say I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss days when we had those warm temperatures that in January that was unheard of.
I guess it's what we deserve.
That's right. Well, I understand that there's an upset in high school basketball lately, Pat.
Oh, that's right, Taylor. I mean, usually this is the time of year when teams start to separate themselves, but not for local area basketball teams coming up after the break. It was a busy Tuesday night for boys basketball, complete with a few surprises.
Opens up their home slate in the MAC tonight. They need to make a few changes to pick up their first conference win. I'll tell you what they are next on Newswatch.
The Ohio men's basketball team has yet to win a game in the new year. Coach John Gross and the Cats will do their best to change that luck tonight as they welcome the University at Buffalo to the Convo. Joining us now live from the Convo to break down the action is reporter Justin Sampson. And Justin, Ohio has been dominated on the boards recently, and that's definitely something that can't happen tonight against a team as big as the Bulls.
Well, Pat, with all the hype and hoopla surrounding this team's hot start, it was difficult for a lot of people to picture them losing 2 straight. But here they are, 0-1 in MAC, playing with a tall task ahead of them tonight. Now, in the last 2 games, Ohio's been absolutely owned on the glass. You look at what John Gross said, saying his team played a little soft on the boards in their last 2 games. Poor timing in the sense that now they welcome in Buffalo, ranked 3rd in the nation in rebounding, pulling down just over 44 per contest. A gaudy statistic, but Ohio has to bring the intensity to the paint tonight. Now, controlling the glass means controlling reigning MAC Freshman of the Year, Javon McCray, who leads the Bulls in both rebounding and points scored, tallying just over 17 per contest. Corralling him isn't going to be an easy task, but it's what Ohio has to do tonight to pick up the victory.
McCray is absolutely a beast down low. Another problem for the Cats as of late has been three-point shooting. Who should Coach Gross try to get the ball to tonight in order to turn that luck around?
Well, the three-point game has really been a team effort, Pat. It's been kind to the Bobcats all season long, but for a team that likes to hoist it from deep so often, it seems like they really can't afford to have an off night. Guys like DJ Cooper and Nick Kellogg, who you usually see throwing it up from deep, now it's just not falling for them. 7 for their last 46 from beyond the arc. That's not going to get it done. Now, to go along with that, Coach Gross also stresses perimeter defense. You look at what Buffalo's been able to do from 3 this season, shooting 36%. One guy you got to look at from beyond the arc is Zach Filzen, shooting almost 50% from deep. If they can keep him in check and find their own three-point stroke, that'll give Ohio the best chance to pick up their first MAC win of the season tonight.
Well, hopefully the Cats can bounce back tonight and earn their first conference win of the season. Thanks for your time, Justin, and enjoy the game. Continuing with Ohio's sports news, distance runner Emily Pfeiffer has been named MAC Female Scholar Athlete of the Week. Pfeiffer earned first place in the 3,000-meter race at the 2012 Buckeye Classic with a time of 10 minutes and 16.35 seconds. The sophomore journalism major also boasts an impressive 3.94 GPA, which ranks 14th among all Ohio student athletes. We now jump from the NCAA to the OHSAA, and it has been upset city at Ben Wagner Gymnasium, and it certainly was in Nelsonville last night. Surprisingly, the host team got the short end of the stick in this one. Coach Blaine Gabriel and the Alexander Spartans snapped a 5-game losing streak by routing the Nelsonville York Buckeyes 60-44. Jay Gray paced the Spartans with 20 points, including 10 in the final quarter. Leading by just 4 points with 4 minutes remaining in regulation, Alexander put the game out of reach with a 14-0 run. Another upset occurred on a lesser scale in Washington County as the Waterford Wildcats picked up their 3rd win of the season by defeating Federal Hawking 54-47. Braden Burr had ice in his veins as he scored 16 points for the Cats, while Tate Lang chipped in 13. The Lancers struggled from the field, shooting just 30% and turning the ball over a whopping 16 times. Federal Hawking will try to get back on the winning track against the South Gallia Rebels on Friday, while it will be Miller time in Waterford as the Falcons visit the Wildcats. So what does this mean for the TVC Hawking standings? Well, they remain cluttered to say the least. 3 teams have only 1 loss in the conference, with Southern holding a game in hand over South Gallia and Belpre. Federal Hawking's loss means they will remain in 4th place. Miller beat Eastern 63-58 last night. That's another upset to create a 4-way tie for 5th place between Eastern, Wahama, Miller, and Waterford. And the Triple Tomcats fell to Southern last night to stay winless in the conference. The logjam continues over in the TVC Ohio. The Vinton County Vikings are dominating the Ohio with a perfect 5-0 record and have the conference on lock. But there is a 4-way tie for 2nd place between Nelsonville York, Wellston, Athens, and Alexander. Friday's night action promises to change that, however, as the Bucks host the Golden Rockets and Alexander heads to McAfee Gymnasium in Athens. Now for some NFL news. The Jacksonville Jaguars have named their 3rd coach in 18 years. The Jags have just hired Mike Mularkey to take over the head coaching position. Mularkey has had coaching stints with 5 different teams over the last 17 seasons. He was head coach of the Buffalo Bills during the 2004-2005 season, but was fired after a disappointing record. Jacksonville has won just 5 games this past season. So Taylor and Andrew, that's all we have for sports. Really looking forward to this Ohio game tonight. Hopefully they can get their first win of 2012 and knock off the Buffalo Bulls. So we'll just have to see. You know I'll be heading to that game right after this.
Thanks, Pat. And stay tuned tonight on WOUB.
Here's a look at what's coming up next on your public television station.
Let's take a final check at the weather with Trevor Cole.
It was not bad out there today other than the rain, and that'll continue for tonight as well. And then tomorrow it'll be a little bit more rain with temperatures around where they are right now. The big change happens though tomorrow evening. A big cold front comes through, bringing a change to snow with about 1 to 3 inches on Friday. So I don't think we'll be able to get through another month like December without avoiding winter.
Yeah, wow, it's amazing. It was warm, and then all of a sudden there's snow on the ground. Happens just like that.
I know, I'm going to have to be cleaning off my car in the morning.
Thanks a lot, Trevor. And that does it for our broadcast on this 11th of January, 2012. Thanks for watching. For Trevor Cole, Matt Chiesa, and Taylor Mirfendereski, I'm Andrew Fowler.
You can get the latest news and weather on the WOUB Radio Network. And you can view our program anytime online at WOUB.org. Have a great night.